Adopt A Golden Knoxville was formed by a group of volunteers in 2010. We saw a need to assist the community with the overpopulation of dogs. We are a breed-specific rescue, which allows us to focus on a certain type of dog, really understand the breed, and help better care for them. Our goal is to assist shelters as much as we can, and also be a judgment-free place that people who are going through a hard time can reach out to if they, for whatever reasons, are unable to keep their family pet. Daisy and Rosie are here with me today. They were rescued by Adopt A Golden Knoxville in 2020. They are a bonded pair of sisters. I adopted them shortly after they came to AGK. They have an anxiety disorder called littermate syndrome. Sit, Daisy. Good. And we're a little bit more work than I bargained for, to be completely honest, but worth it. I love them dearly. I've had them, it'll be 3 years this fall. I became involved with Adopt A Golden Knoxville in 2011. I had a rescued golden retriever, and a good friend of mine was one of the founders, and she reached out to me very early on and said, hey, we're doing this, do you want to be involved? And I said, I'm in, and I've been around ever since. I've had a variety of different volunteering jobs. Fostering is probably my favorite volunteer role with Adopt A Golden Knoxville. I particularly love fostering seniors, and I do a lot of our big litters of puppies. So I've done 4 or 5 litters for Adopt A Golden Knoxville.
But that's so fun.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's very fun. We would much rather people just spay and neuter their pets.
Yeah.
We are able to be there when, there are dogs that end up pregnant in shelters, because shelters are not very good environments for mothers to give birth in. Not only is it stressful and loud, we also have to worry about diseases like parvo that they're not vaccinated for. So when a shelter reaches out to us to say that there is a pregnant golden or golden mix, we certainly take that very seriously and try to get the dog out of that situation as soon as possible. We take dogs in with a variety of different needs, and our mission is to not just rescue these dogs, but rehabilitate them. Many come with medical needs. I would say most do. One of our, aside from the standard vaccinations and spay and neutering that we provide to all our dogs, some come to us with heartworms, and that is very expensive to treat. Some come to us needing surgeries. And then the other thing is some come to us with behavioral needs. It is not uncommon for us to rescue dogs from really horrific situations. A lot of puppy mills are being shut down these days, and we're getting a lot of dogs from these hoarding puppy mill situations.
Yeah, I just saw, I think a WBIR article about you guys. Yeah.
That was just three weeks ago. We took in 10 dogs from a hoarding situation that were just, the living conditions were unimaginable. The puppies we got, we were able to rescue 7 puppies and 3 adult dogs from this specific puppy mill. The puppies are doing great and have all been adopted. The adult dogs will require more medical care, more behavioral care. But one thing that's really amazing is, we get these dogs in, some of them just have experienced horrific abuse, and we always wonder if we will be able to find a family who's going to be willing to take a dog that's probably always going to be scared, probably always going to be fearful of strangers, probably not going to be a dog that's going to hop in the car and go to the park with you. And there are people out there who will take these dogs with health needs that is going to require long-term care or certain behavioral needs, and it's really amazing. Seniors are another demographic. Senior golden retrievers or senior dogs in general are one of the most overlooked groups in shelters. They're just passed by regularly, and we take in a lot of seniors, a lot of elderly people who can no longer care for their dogs. And one thing that is just, it's so amazing is we find homes for these dogs. Somebody will look at a 12-year-old dog with cancer and 3 legs and think, you know what, he deserves more than dying alone in a shelter. And we are grateful for that. Another service that we provide to the community is being a place that owners can come when they are experiencing some kind of hardship and can no longer keep their dog. And there's a lot of stigma around that. You know, we see it on social media and stuff where people, how could these people give up these family pets and stuff like that? But you know, there are a lot of things that people go through that are unimaginable. You know, we've gotten dogs from families who have experienced fires and lost everything they own. We've gotten dogs from people who have been diagnosed with a terminal illness. We've gotten dogs from people who have lost their jobs and are just on hard times. And them surrendering the dog is a kindness. It is them understanding that at this point in time, the best thing they can do for their family pet is trust us to find the dog an appropriate home. And we take that very seriously. And we want the community to know that we are here if something unfortunate happens to you, and we will be judgment free, and we will love your dog like you do. And we are just so grateful that we're able to provide that to the community, because I think a lot of people don't realize that when you're faced with an unimaginable situation, us being able to take this small, being able to say, we've got this for you, is it's a gift to some of these people, and we're grateful to be able to do it. So we're always here for anybody who needs help. Things have really changed. I've been involved with AGK since nearly the beginning, and it's really interesting to see how the climate has changed. The first few years, we got a lot of purebred Goldens from shelters, and then the Adopt Don't Shop really went mainstream, and more people were going to shelters and adopting out those dogs. That allowed us to take in more dogs with more specific needs, such as behavioral and medical. Many dogs costing us into the 5 figures to treat and be able to get well enough to be in a family home. And as time goes on, we are seeing more and more of that. Things have changed a lot post-COVID. We are getting in a lot more puppies from breeders who are simply unable to sell puppies now. There was a big boom during COVID, and a lot of people went out and got dogs, and now as the world is returning normal, some people can no longer keep those dogs. We used to hardly ever get puppies. Our first few years, getting one puppy was a big deal to our rescue, and now this year alone, I think just in 2023, we've rescued nearly 20 puppies. Interesting thing about being in this type of organization is our goal is to eventually not be needed. I mean, that is our long-term goal, is that one day we close our doors because we're not needed anymore. So that's a very strange outlook, where many organizations are hoping to grow and expand and get bigger and bigger. Our long-term goal is that hopefully with educating the public about adoption instead of going through unethical breeders, about spay and neutering your pets, and please be vigilant about that. Accidental litters are really crippling our shelter system at the moment. We hope to take in less dogs. I don't foresee that being the case anytime in the future. We are still very much needed. We are already on track to take in significantly more dogs this year than we did last year. And you have to wonder, it's been a fluctuation. There's years where we're just slammed, like 2023 is turning out to be, and there's years where it's a little bit quieter. The evolution of the doodle boom has definitely affected golden retrievers. I think a lot of breeders are continuing to breed Goldens, but the demographic of people who were buying Goldens are now going to Doodles. So we have this overpopulation of Goldens. The doodle boom over the last few years has very much affected all rescues and shelters. We're creating more and more dogs, and we're breeding more dogs than even people are purchasing them. It's quite alarming. And we help when we can as a breed-specific rescue, but there's only so much we can do. People really need to be more aware about where they're purchasing their dogs from, what kind of dogs they're purchasing, because unfortunately golden retrievers and doodle breeds it's very common for them to come from unethical breeders. Now we work with wonderful breeders in the area. So certainly not all breeders are bad. There is that stigma, and then we certainly don't feel that way. However, there are just for every great breeder, there's just so many more that aren't. And we need people to do their homework. We need to shut those places down. We need to stop providing them an opportunity to make money off the backs of these dogs. We are entirely volunteer-based. I can't even begin to tell you how many volunteers we have. We have a board of about 12 people, but as far as day-to-day operations go, between applications, fostering, I would say probably nearly 50 volunteers are part of our really day-to-day operation. So all our, it costs a lot of money to take care of these dogs, and many of the ones we get are in just unimaginable conditions and are going to require, weeks in the ICU or multiple surgeries. And it is not uncommon for us to have a dog that ends up with a vet bill well over $10,000. But you know what? We always raise the money for those dogs. We go to our supporters, we go to our followers on social media, and we say, hey, this dog doesn't deserve what has happened to it, and we're gonna do everything we can to give this dog a fighting chance. And you know what? People respond to that. We get donations from $5 to $500 to $5,000 for these dogs because people think they matter. And we are so grateful because we wouldn't be here today without our supporters. It is very expensive to take care of all these dogs. We host 2 major fundraising events a year. We have one coming up on June the 8th called Goldens in the Park. It's at Lakeshore Park. This will be again, we do 2 a year, and this is really our foundation. And we know that we have never had to turn a dog away because we couldn't pay their bills. And we will never turn a dog away because a shelter calls and says, this dog's going to need an $8,000 surgery. We'll figure it out. But we can't do that without the community, and we're so grateful. Our adopters, our supporters, our donors, they stick by us, and they stick by these dogs. And I think a really valuable lesson is a lot of these dogs are ones that no one wants. I mean, they are ones that have just been completely discarded, and we in our community rallies around them. They cheer for them. They pray for them, and they donate towards them, and it's amazing to watch, but it also motivates the volunteers. We see this, and we see that people believe in this mission and that people are with us. And it makes those hard days a lot easier. It makes those days when you're going to pick up dogs from really terrible situations easier because you realize that's the minority. The majority of people in this community, they care about these dogs.